Hi, my name is Søren. Welcome to the fourth entry in my diary. Again, the achievements in the workshop are nothing to brag about. So in order not to have a several month-long gap with no videos from me, I'm continuing the workshop tour. And I have done a bit of machining. I've turned a primary gear into this one. Hope you'll enjoy. Because I've made this workshop by myself, I was able to put all my ideas into the planning from the beginning. And I think I've managed to execute most of them in the best possible way. Especially a thing like electricity, it's very nice to have that well planned out from the beginning. And I also think that I've managed to make that somewhat right. There are a couple of things that could have been better. For example, I wasn't sure that I would ever get a milling machine, so now I'm actually missing at least one three-phase outlet. But let me show you some of the ideas I've put into life. First of all, there are the outlets around the workbench. As you see, I have a couple of outlets here. And also two here. You really don't want to have them up here at the rear, because you will have the cord running over the workbench. But I have some things like this power supply that I always have at the rear in any case, so it's nice to have a couple of outlets here. For power supply, drilling machines, angle grinders and things like that, I have some outlets under the workbench. One here and one at the other end. And this is normally sufficient for my use. I also have one here at the wall. And at the other end, underneath my cabinet here, there's also an outlet here. I have this is for charging a lamp I have, and inside my cabinet, where I have some of my, you see what there's inside there. I have a couple of charging devices for the batteries, so they are out of the way. Same thing up here, where I have my amplifier. I've of course also made the outlets up here. If I need anything else that should be dust free, I can put it up here. So there's outlets up here also. Here at the door I have a couple of outlets, single phase and three phase. This is an old Danish system that's still widely used. It's now been replaced with the Euro norm. But it's actually quite nice because the plug is very small, and you usually can get them with this switch. There's also at the other side a couple of outlets. And here I have the outlet for the lift, and here I would like to have one more for the drill press. As it is now, I have to change between the two. There's also an outlet here, and this is of course all the switches for the light in here. As you see, I've put protection around the switches, so I won't damage them with things that are going down from the loft. And it's the same here with the relay boxes for the lift. They're also protected. And then of course over at the milling machine I have some outlets and the three-phase. And now we're all the way around it. But yeah, of course I have this. Here I switch on the my extraction fan, and that's of course also there's also outlets up in the cabinet, but I don't think I will ever use that other than for the fan. The last outlet I have here with the column, I of course often have to use power tools around when I have a motorcycle or a car in here, and I don't want a cord running across here, so I have that to stumble on. So instead I put an outlet in the ceiling and made this wooden protection for this 4-prong outlet. And it has a magnet attached to the back side, so I can hang it wherever I want to. And when it's not in use, I put it up here, so I don't have that to bump into when I'm working around the column. I'll finish the tour for today with some solutions I've come up with to make everyday life easier in the workshop. And one thing you will always be faced with on a regular basis is cleaning the workshop, and I've come up with some solutions to make that easier. Here you see one of them, or rather two. Normally there would be a gap underneath the bases of the lathe, but I've covered it up so I can avoid that chips and bolts and lost screws and things like that will be forever lost underneath. And the same thing with the drawer in the middle. Even though I'm not able to take full advantage of the width of the gap, I've still made the front plate in full width, and that's simply to, again of course, to avoid that things get lost underneath. Underneath the front plate there's this type of door brush, so it will sweep any chips that lie in front of it. It will be swept out. Another small thing that has taken hours to make is this triangular piece of wood that is wedged between the column and the wall, and it's simply there because you wouldn't be able to get in there with the broom. So it's simply to keep it to make it easier to keep it clean here. It's the same thing here in front of the vacuum cleaner. This construct here is also to prevent that things will go in there. And it also acts as a stop or a holder for the vacuum cleaner hose. Also here you see the rather special construct of the base of the workbench. This would normally leave a gap underneath, and I filled it up with concrete while I was doing the floor. Also to make it easier to keep it clean, and again to these lost screws and bolts that they are easier to find. The construct of the this base of the workbench is somewhat special, but it's actually quite nice because you won't have your knee scraping against a one of the legs if they were straight down. And the same idea I've continued with this cart or carriage for for the arms for the lift. It's not to be fancy. I've made this. It's simply because it goes a bit far out, and it's to avoid smashing your shin into a sharp corner. The same thing with this drawer up here. I've also made it with an angle, so So you will have more room underneath the workbench. I've presented the four-jaw simply by using these grooves that are in the chuck. So, and now of course it's time to put a gauge on it. And I'm measuring on this surface because that's the only machine surface that I can count on. That's enough for this initial setup. So, and next I'll measure here. That's also a machine surface. And now it's of course to do like Adam Booth said, tighten your highs and loosen your lows. And then double check. Yeah, within a half a hundredths. Less than a hundredths. My go-to specialist suggests that you can narrow the gear down to 15 or 16 millimeters. But as I'm always a bit of a chicken, I've chosen it to make it 17 millimeters. And it's of course here at the outside of the gear that you can remove the most weight. Next thing is to drill some holes in the center of the gear. Again, because I don't have the right tools, I have to do things a bit alternatively. It doesn't have to be super precise, but yeah, I think we got it here. That's within 200 or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Close enough. As I don't have a dividing head, I have to drill the holes according to coordinates. And to figure out where the holes have to be, I'm taking use of Pythagoras, or rather I'm using an app on my iPhone to figure out the measurements. Ideally you would of course do this, yeah, everything on the milling machine. But since I haven't got the right tools, I would need a short 27 or 26 millimeter drill to make it, and I haven't got that, so I'm doing this on the lathe instead. It's a bit fiddly with the setup, but as you can see, it's not that bad. There you go. The first cut I make with this 11mm 3-flute carbide drill. As you can see, it's not the best conditions because this it's a sloped angle. It has to cut. I'm a bit careful. Once I've broken through the surface, it's fairly easy to cut. And the final cut I make with this boring bar, it's the only one I have in that size. It's not ideal again, but it works. There's another reason for turning the final diameter instead of drilling it, and that's of course because the previous drills have deflected quite a lot. So the best way to get the hole back on center is to turn it. I'm using a wire brush to deburr the teeth, and for the holes I use my straight grinder. I also wanted to make a new bushing for the gear, as it doesn't look very nice, but I couldn't find the mating part. I have to do some detective work on that. But I made a drift for removing the bushing, so when I find the mating part I can make this new bushing. The next couple of weeks, or maybe 3 or 4, I will probably not be very active here on YouTube. The project on the house I've been talking about is nearing its work phase, and I will probably be working 24/7 for a longer period of time. I might upload some videos, yeah, let's see. But thank you for watching.